78% of suicide rates worldwide are men. What can we do to help them? Take away the guns. Kill them to stop them from killing themselves. Stop letting courts and ex-wives take advantage of them, especially when it involves their kids. Get women to kill themselves more. Stop demonizing and scapegoating masculinity. Sincerely compliment them and normalize the practice. Stop the man up shit. That percentage would go down if women were better at committing suicide. As a society, stop implying that when men are sensitive or honest with their emotions, that they're being weak or not manly. Get more women to commit suicide to even it out. Change the stigma around mental health. We need to do better at letting people know it's be okay not to be okay. Now let's talk about it. Stop thinking lesbians are more acceptable than gay men would be an easy start. Edit, the comment under me is the correct solution, mine is flawed. Just legalize euthanasia. Providing a way to suicide will make those consider them less impulsive or at least seek help. Less burden and more safety for public workers. Stigmatize and criminalize suicide will only force people into a corner. I am turning 30 soon and I am beyond redemption. I have been working hard in the past 13 years to change that, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Not all suicide is impulsive. Swift death is the only thing I wish for nowadays. Things don't always get better as everybody else says, it's just a law of nature. The lights in the tunnel faded. I hate seeing my optimistic young self slowly turn into a cynical bitter monster. If God has mercy, He would have spared me the pain. But I might soon find the courage to do what should have been done 10 years ago. I honestly rather die as a good man than live as a monster. My young friend who jumped off the bridge in college, he will always be remembered as a bright, compassionate, and optimistic man. The ones who fought on like me? I doubt people will attend my funeral now. One thing that might help over time is to use movies and shows to really normalize depression and what getting help and successful improvement of symptoms can look like. Seems like too often mental illness is shown as a wacky character trait or romanticized, like a cool stoic dude with a completely flat affect that can just go on forever kicking ass and being borderline antisocial without addressing their apparent issues. Oh, and sometimes they kill the bad guy and get the girl and their problems magically resolve _. Stop telling them to suck it up and instead tell them it's okay to not be okay and let them talk about their issues without judgment. Give men the safe and secure space to actually talk with someone without prejudice and without distasteful responses. Guys need to get things off their chest and feel safe to let it go. Normalize men being able to cry and vent about their feelings. Deleted. If there's a job out there that's physically demanding, physically unsafe, involves a lot of hierarchy and or hazing, involves long hours or shift work, involves being outdoors in all weather, involves being exposed to people at their worst, it will probably be a job held mostly by men. The only notable exception I can think of is sex work, and there are a lot of men who are sex workers, and even more stigmatized than their female counterparts. The only time you see women doing backbreaking labor out of their homes is cases of the most extreme poverty or social breakdown. And typically there are more options for them to marry up and get out of that. In all societies I think there's this sense that women should be protected. That can be condescending of course, but it saves women from a lot of routine suffering. Men are never given that same level of protection. Male disposability underpins every society. Brandon Marshall, bipolar football player, once said, what happens when a little girl skins her knees and cries? We validate her feelings and show love and support. When a little boy skins his knee, here's a band-aid, toughen up. I just miss my friends from when I was younger. I'm 40 now. A lot of them are dead. Several from suicide. We used to just explore the woods, play games, ride dirt bikes, do stupid shit. Now no one wants to. Or has time. Me included. I just miss my friends. Stop blaming men for everything, and for once, pardon. A suicide rate is a measure. If 78% of suicide rates are men, then 78% of suicide measures are men. Maybe if we stop measuring the rate at which men die, maybe fewer men will die. Or at least we won't know how bad it is and then won't care. Flawless logic. Stop using the term man up. Love them. Hugs, like those fuckers, help. Normalize complimenting guys. Girls are used to getting compliments and being checked out on a regular basis, it's normal for them. Guys, on the other hand, aren't, for the most part, regularly getting comments as simple as "you look good today." The simplest way to put it is that if a girl gives a guy the most basic of compliments, i.e. "you look good," it's enough to make the guy think you're into him. Even if you're not. Don't do anything. Men are evil and we can't get away with victimizing themselves as if they weren't privileged by this patriarchal society. In case it is needed greater than /s. Stop raising them to think that they are weak if they're struggling. That they can't ask for help. That seeking help makes them less than. That they have to meet their parents' expectations. That they can't be gay, bi or transgender. That they are more powerful than they actually are. I also think men should be able to talk to other men, family and friends, about their questions and concerns and get empathetic answers. If friends don't support you during the real shit, they're not your friends. You're responsible for ending toxic relationships, but you're also responsible for being a better bro. We are all human. We all struggle. We should all be able to seek support in a judgment-free zone. Take them seriously. Show respect and care when someone comes to you to say they're sick. And JFC, do not ever pull that man up bullshit that helps no one. Please just talk to me, fuck what other people say, I want to know. Crying shouldn't have a gender connotation. Emotion is important. Stop gender stereotypes. In fact, abolish gender altogether. Listen to men who want to share their feelings. Stop shaming men for wanting to be emotional. Stop enforcing the idea that men are only oppressors and cannot be oppressed themselves. Recognize the reasons that men commit suicide far more than women, and have far more violence enacted against them than women. Realize that men, and women, are mistreated by other men. Support feminism, which advocates for the abolition of those very stereotypes, like men shouldn't cry or men need to just man up and move on. Feminism advocates for equality, and not the straw man all men are evil feminism, but the real feminism that advocates for equality and the abolition of gender roles and stereotypes, but also advocates for the abolition of such things as men being poorly treated in the court system during divorces and child custody cases. As a man, it's very paradoxical for me to hear other men enforcing these things that hurt them in the long run. Show me a guy with a pair of fake testicles hanging from his oversized diesel pickup truck, or a man who thinks that crying is gay, or a man who thinks that you should be tough and shut the hell up, and I'll show you a guy who is perpetuating the gender roles and other stereotypes that are hurting him in the long run. Try to do away with stigmas like men don't talk about their feelings. A man is getting physically/emotionally abused by his girlfriend/wife. What a wuss. YouTube Andrew Yang. He's running for president in the US. He has brought to light that at least here in the States, suicides and drug overdoses have risen to the top of the list for causes of death, surpassing auto accidents. Then he asks why is that and how can address it. Part of the why is that our economy only values human worth if you are productive and working. If you get laid off or become unemployed for any reason, i.e. health, injury, taking care of a loved one, etc., then you are no longer seen as valuable. We have tied our worth to work. When we don't work, we become depressed. When we can't find work, while some can adapt, move, or retrain, many find that impossible or unachievable. The result is a statistical move towards opioids, alcohol, other drugs and/or suicide. Now tie into that fact that we don't have readily accessible mental health services, it's clear why suicides rates are rising. Now why is it skewed so heavily towards men? I think men make up the bulk of manufacturing jobs, and when layoffs happen, it will affect them more so. Andrew is seeking to break the stigma of tying human worth to economic work across the board in many ways. It's fascinating to me to watch him communicate these societal issues, specifically suicide rates, when no one else with any sort of large-scale decision-making influence will.